Salam, greetings, and very good day. I wish to all of you. Welcome to the first episode of Pharmasphere podcast. This is a new podcast session specially brought to you by the International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineering, ISPE, Malaysia's Central Board, MYSCB. We are your hosts. I'm Evie, and this is Amanda. As we may have heard, going beyond boundaries is a trending discussion topic which enables you to think about living the comfort and safety of being within the non boundaries. Henceforth, we are trying to solve the puzzle pieces together by listening to the sharing of beneficial plus brilliant ideas and thoughts for which will be delivered by our amazing guest soon.
That sounds amazing, Evie. So today, we would like to highlight a topic that is quite interesting to be discussed, which is go beyond your borders. I'm sure that every one of us has had our opinion and thoughts on this topic. Before proceeding with our podcast session, I would first be delighted to introduce you to our guest of the day. Our first guest to be on this special podcast being brought to you by Pharmasphere is Miss Chloe Chen Ziyun, an industrial biotechnology graduate from University Malaysia Pahang Al Sultan Abdullah UMPSA, and currently a clinical research associate at Arcadia Life Sciences. We also have with us today Ms. Ungku Irdina, a pharmacy graduate at University of Cyberjaya. Before we start our sharing session today, how are you both feeling, our dear guests?
I'm feeling quite good, quite excited to share about my experience. What about you, Chloe?
I'm feeling great today. Really happy to have this opportunity to share my experience as well. With this title, Go Beyond Your Borders.
Thank you.
It's good and glad to hear that. Before we start taking approaches into today's topic, allow me to give snippets of background information about our beloved guest speakers today. Miss Chloe has recently graduated from University Malaysia Pahang, Al Sultan Abdullah UMPSA, obtaining a Bachelor in Applied Science for Industrial Biotechnology. She has currently started working as a clinical research associate at Arcadia Life Sciences, a leading Malaysian biotechnology company located in Kuala Lumpur for almost 1 year now. Before that, she completed her internship in Malaysian Genomic Research Centre, MGRC, which allows her to obtain a set of well-diversified knowledge and specialties ranging from genomics analysis, medical affairs, social media, and also business development.
Whereas Ms. Irdina is a pharmacy graduate at University of Cyberjaya in Ampang, Selangor. She completed her internship at GSK, Mayflex, Doc2Us, and Gleneagles Hospital, Kuala Lumpur. This has allowed her to gain skills in project management, data entry, and patient care. She is now completing her internship in Pfizer Malaysia, that is a leading pharmaceutical company focused on delivering innovative medicines and vaccines across various therapeutic areas like oncology, cardiology, and immunology. Both Ms. Chloe and Ms. Irdina are ISPE Malaysia emerging leaders that are well experienced in organizing national level events and activities, making our ISPE Malaysian Student Chapter Board, MYSCB, highly renowned for their respective outstanding achievements.
Now that we all know Miss Chloe and Miss Irdina are the best guests to be the one talking about today's topic on Go Beyond Your Borders. Let us not waste any of our time and allow me now to start ahead our discussion topic with a little bit of general understanding about the topic. Borders, it protects us, but can also isolate us if turned into rigid walls. This applies to both physically or even in our thoughts and the way of thinking. So, going beyond boundaries means to leave the comfort and safety of being within the non-boundaries. It signifies acting, thinking, or even exploring outside of established limits, conventions, or expectations. It can imply pushing oneself or others to achieve more, embrace new ideas, or challenge oneself to achieve something that someone has never achieved. Our guests today are the living examples.
Well said, Evie. Now let me get into the first question for our guests. So, what made you apply for the student conference grant offered by ISPE? So, for the audience's information, ISPE Foundation is extending the opportunity to invite a group of students to attend its annual conference at many different places or countries each year. So, for our guests, are there any personal driven factors or causes that make you want to apply for the grant? Or maybe we can have Miss Irdina to share first.
So I was actually not aware of this opportunity until I was actually encouraged by my lecturers and mentors to join this. So initially, I also had doubts like, could I, even if I apply, would I even be able to actually get accepted for this? But actually, thinking back, when I was looking through the details, I realized it was actually such a great, like, the opportunity was actually too great for you to miss out because you are not only getting sponsored, as in your flight and your hotel and accommodation is being covered, but you're actually um, going to attend the conference for free. And at the conference, you're actually able to meet a lot of different people from different backgrounds and also actually get a deeper insight of the pharma industry, which is not taught in your university. So that also was one of my motivation factor where it was a too great of a learning opportunity for me to pass up on. So that's why I decided to actually take up the challenge and face my fears and apply for it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miss Irdina. How about you, Miss Chloe?
For me, actually, I saw this opportunity initially sent to my email as an ISP member. And then I saw it, I read through the email. I was like, oh, this looks like a very interesting opportunity. But at that point of time, I didn't apply because I was thinking it's a global opportunity. Everybody will be applying for it. And I'm from like Malaysia. It's like such a small country, right? How can I compete with other people that are from like the Europe or like US or like even the AEMA region, Middle East Pacific region, So I was thinking like, it's okay. I'll just let this opportunity slide. And then after that, Puan Zarina, which is the ISP Malaysia president, she personally texted me about this opportunity. And she told me, Chloe, you should go apply. You just apply only, and if you get it or you don't get it, that is up to the discretion of the selecting committees, but just apply, just go. So at that point of time, I think I was one of the first batches to receive this travel grant because it just launched, I think 2-3 years ago. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna apply. So I opened the website and then I fill in all my details and like a short introduction paragraph, and then I submitted. Yeah, so that was my personal drive. So actually, I did wanted to apply, but I was afraid. Then after that, someone encouraged me to apply, so that's what I did. Yeah.
I see. So these were the motivating factors for you both to go for it. After attending that conference with the grant, there must be tons of exciting stories and also ventures that you have been going through. So if you don't mind, can you share the most interesting part of the event? Shall we start with Miss Chloe first?
I have two answers. There is the official answer and there is the unofficial answer. So the official answer, of course, the most interesting part of the event is networking with people because I think I am a people person, and I love connecting with people. So it was super, super interesting that I get to, go to talk to different people and then visit different booths. And it's really, really interesting to see what people are doing like in the other side of the world, because I went for the Europe conference and it was so different back here in Malaysia, which is really eye-opening for me. And the unofficial answer of the most interesting part of the event is definitely their dinners. Okay, so as a receiver for the travel grants, we were also entitled to join their networking dinners. And we're in Europe, and networking dinners, there's definitely a lot of different cultures going on, and people don't just talk about work at networking dinner. They talk about like their personal life. I get to talk to like some CEO of some company. I'm really sorry, but I really can't remember who I actually talked to. But I got to talk to some of the head management of people, and then get to delve into their personal stories and their personal life, and what made them lead to who they are today. And that was super, super eye-opening. And because they're from people all around the world, and it's a global experience and global culture kind of thing, which is really, really, really interesting. Yeah, because in the conference we normally talk about work, talk about pharmaceutical manufacturing, we talk about regulatory compliance, things like that. But at dinner it's totally different. But yeah, that's my unofficial answer and official answer.
I see you get to know about the behind the curtain story, right? So it's kind of interesting also even about the dinner. And we actually as students, yeah, it's quite a rare chances for us to get such opportunities of the grant. So how about you, Miss Dina?
I have to agree with Chloe on one of the most interesting part of the of the conference was the networking. Although I am not people oriented like Chloe, but I do have to admit that I really did enjoy talking to different people, especially from different backgrounds. You get to hear the stories of how where they started and then where they got now, and it's a lot of interesting stories where you wouldn't even expect that you could do that. So it was a really mind opening. It was really mind opening for me. Also, another thing that I really enjoyed was seeing the latest technology because it's a conference. So obviously they're going to like go full out with the type of technology that is available in the market. So like obviously when you go to like industrial site in Malaysia, you see the technology and you're like already amazed. But this is on a global scale where like it is even further or even beyond what you can imagine. So like one of the things that I saw was like there was a robot. There's a robot that you can actually scan the whole premise of the factory, and you can see each and little details so that they can amend or they can renovate it to actually improve their system or their facilities. So the fact that they're also implementing AI and implementing the robots, which when I was young, I saw all this on like movies, and now being able to see it in front with my own eyes is very, very interesting. Very, I think it's something that you should experience, lah. Yeah, yeah, that's from me.
Thank you, Miss Irdina. Well, honestly, both your advices and both your experiences is really inspiring. It makes me want to apply for the grant next year. Okay, so I'm sure that this is a once in a lifetime experience for you both as well. So, for any of the students like us to go travel to a different country is a completely new environment. So, listening to what you had shared makes me a lot more curious about your experiences. So, let's go deeper. For sure, there's been ups and downs in every trip that we are going for, right? So, what were the challenges you faced during the application process, whether it was expected or unexpected? So, when these challenges hit you, how did you overcome it? Yeah, since Miss Irdina's mic is on, let's hear it from her.
Okay. So actually, I'm not sure about Chloe's time, but for my time when I applied, I had to submit two things, which was my resume, and also I had to write an essay on why I why I should be picked and what benefits I can get if I were to attend the conference. So it might seem a little bit simple, but like you also have to think again that like you are competing with people from around the world. So you have to do something that actually stands out. So what I did is like, of course, using you kind of have to apply it like you're applying for a job. So you have to make sure that you include all your skill in your resume specifically. You have to include your skills, your like experiences, what contribution, and I think it's an added point if you relate it to ISBE because it's under ISBE. So what I did was like in my resume, I included that I was part of ISBE as like a vice president and what are my contributions to that society. So it shows that you are also active in their society. And then, so that's for my resume. I also included like any awards or any like volunteering activities that I did just to try to stand out a bit among the crowd. And then also the second part, which is the essay, I not only included like what benefits I can gain for myself, like personal benefits, I also included like what type of benefits that I can give to other people if I were to actually use it. So I did relate to like, oh, if I were to like, this is just an example. I am also not sure if this is like, if they picked me because of this law. But I think like I also mentioned like, oh, if I were to be able to be picked, if I was picked, then I will use the knowledge that I can get and all the network that I can get to actually um, increase the collaboration between our society and other like societies from other different countries as well. So that's like one of the tips that I try. But again, I am not sure if I got picked because of that. But that's what I think lah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dina, for sharing. Actually, these are very good tips. I might use it during my letter, my essay next time. Thank you, Dina. All right. How about you, Miss Chloe?
I think during the application process, since mine was like the first, I think lah, it was the first time, so I didn't had to submit my resume, but we do have to write the essay lah. So for the application process, I think it's quite straightforward. You just fill up your details on the website and you just write your, I mean, I wrote my essay on a separate document, but I copy paste everything and I just paste it on the website. So I think the mechanics and the operations is quite simple. But for me, the challenges was more on academics because the conference was, I think it was 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks before my trial exam for university. It was in May something, so it's really close to like it was close to final exams, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2-3 weeks before final exams. So, I had to go through a long process with my uni, like, okay, I'm telling my academic advisor, and then I have to go through my school. We call it JPA. The English equivalent, I think, would be Student Affairs Department. And then I also had to go through my dean as well not to say to allow me to go to not to say to allow me to go to this event, but it's just to notify them that I would be going because I'm not actually going at the time of exam. It's just like it's quite close. So these are some of the challenges that I faced. And also during that trip, because I went to Amsterdam. So Amsterdam, they talk in Dutch, and that signboard, everything is all in Dutch. So I think language is something that I kind of struggle with, but actually during the conference, everybody is talking English. So when I say I struggle with language, it's like my daily commute to the place, and then because we have 1-2 days free days that we can walk around. So it's a little bit challenging with the languages, but generally the people that I met in Amsterdam were fine, and they were quite nice lah anyways. So yeah, these are the two challenges that I went through for the trip.
I see. So thank you, Irdina, for your sharing and the useful tips. And thank you, Chloe, for mentioning the two challenges that you face. Maybe some of us that going to apply for this grant will be also facing the same challenges as you. So personally, I feel like I went there when I listened to your story, your both story. to the conference after listening to the wonderful experience that you have shared. I think it's kind of like a life changing experience and surely will motivate all students like me and Amanda, I'm sure. So, whoever is participating in that annual conference, from getting early exposure of what's it going to be like working in the industry to communicating like social networking from what you have shared, making friends and learning from the sharing section about what skills that we shall possess before entering the industry and how other countries are currently doing in the field of pharmaceutical and are there new developments seeking advice and knowledges to make improvement to the industry in our own country. I think of it as a very honorable experience to contribute back not only to the foundation who give the grant and the society and to even to our own country, which is Malaysia.
All right, so moving on. This is the session where we ask for advices from our guests. So maybe we can start with Miss Chloe. Maybe you would like to give the students who are interested in similar opportunities for the grant. It would be great if you can share with us your tips for the students that are thinking if they should join, because at this time being, the next grant will be the US grant, as the UK grant was already offered before this. Yeah, so maybe you can give us some tips, maybe language wise, like you mentioned. So maybe you can share with us some tips.
Yeah, so for me, application tips, the most important part is definitely your essay part. Just like all other like scholarship or job application or whatnot, your first impression is the most important thing. So I guess for me, some tips is that you really have to be specific on your skill sets. What are you specialized in? So I talked a little bit about like my final year project and things like that. And also, how are you going to contribute back to your country, back to your school or whatever? You can go from small to big. So personally, what I wrote was that similar like Irdina, I also said that I will take the connections that I gained through the conference and benefit our own Malaysia affiliate. And also maybe the words I use are very bombastic, but I said things like if I have the chance to join this conference, I can use the knowledge that I have to come back to Malaysia and build up the pharmaceutical industry in Malaysia, and then also bring in talents, bring in technology that I've seen during the conference back into Malaysia. And also it will greatly inspire me in terms of career, in terms of developing talents, and also even nurturing the younger generations. So definitely highlight on the contributions you can make after you join the conference. So another one thing is because you can see the conference tracks beforehand, so you can see like what workshops are there presented in the conference. So I picked a few workshops that I know will benefit me. So I specifically said, okay, this workshop will benefit me how. So I think there was a cell and gene therapy workshop, if I'm not mistaken, or like vaccine manufacturing workshop, so things like that. So I wrote like this workshop can benefit me as I can bring the technology and can bring the knowledge back, and then I can share it with my lecturers. I can share it with contacts that I know, so that they are aware that this is the kind of development that we are doing, and this is the kind of technology that other people are doing. So be very specific. So definitely gather all the info that you can regarding the conference, and then write what you can contribute or what you can learn. Yeah, because in a way, we're still students, right? Or we're still emerging leaders. So in a way, I don't think they expect you to contribute a lot, but you have to have a general idea on where do you think you can contribute back. Yeah, because I think ISB is an organization that focuses a lot on giving back to society as well. So this is one thing. And another thing is, if you're scared of like language, or if you're scared like what if I'm going there alone, what if nobody is with me, so I challenge all of you to grow out of your comfort zone. don't think, close your eyes. Don't actually close your eyes, but like, close your eyes and just apply. You never know what kind of doors these kind of opportunities can lead you to. It might lead you to a job like in the US, that kind of thing. So definitely just go and apply. Don't think too much, but do think a bit more on your essay, but don't think too much when you apply. Yeah, just go for it. That's my tips.
Thank you so much, Miss Chloe. Actually, the part where you said about the technology, and it was also mentioned by Miss Irdina also, where we can bring back the knowledge on the technology from other countries. That's a very good point. I will keep that. All right. So, for Miss Irdina, what are the tips that you will give for the students that are thinking to apply for the grad?
Okay, so other than I think I actually answered this in my previous answer or the previous question, but I'll just add on a few more tips lah. So like similar to what Chloe said, I know like a lot of people are actually scared into applying it. It's because it's like, oh, you don't think you're going to like actually get it. But I feel like these doubts are actually what is holding you back. So even when I applied, I even thought like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I'll just apply lah, because like people are telling me to apply, so I'll just apply. And then suddenly I got it. So like, and also like when you are applying it, it's not like you are actually losing anything. If you get it, you get it. But if you don't get it, there's nothing that you're actually losing. So why not just go for it? So like, and the fact that you actually went to apply for it, you already have a higher chance than someone who actually than someone who didn't apply for it. So I think this is like the type of mindset that everyone should have when they're actually being presented a lot of opportunities. So I feel like the self doubt is actually what's holding you back. So again, we should all try to like challenge ourselves and to step out of our comfort zone and try new things and to stop letting fear be such a big part of our life. Yeah.
Let me just add one more point. I just thought about it. I think when I was applying, a few of my friends, they were having a little bit of financial constraint, because for this grant to happen, you have to pay first and then claim later. So the fund will be channeled to you after the whole conference and whole event. And before the fund is even channeled to you, you have to write not a report, but maybe more like of a testimonial back to ISP HQ before they channel the fund to you. So I understand that the financial constraint is something that maybe some students will be thinking about, but to me, rest assured, there's definitely support that you can reach out to, especially to ISP Malaysia, if you want to apply for this grant, because yeah, there are a few support mechanisms lah that ISP Malaysia could provide for students to go for this grant, because yeah, we understand, students don't have that much money, lying around to apply for a grant, right? So definitely don't worry about budget constraint and financial constraints. You can always reach out to ISP Malaysia for support. Yeah.
See, that was a definitely needed pieces of advice that we should learn from both of you. Now that we have heard your sharing on the aspects that we should taken into consideration of to secure this opportunity, so I would also like to ask this crucial question for those who would just like maybe I don't know, but maybe for those who are still scared of stepping his or her foot to this new environment and new meeting with new people. I was wondering how do you both manage to get out of your comfort zone and like approach to, I mean, the conference is like all professional bodies and individuals in there, right? And then we are basically the students there. So when I meet with this new person, then they were just like already been in the industry for years long, and they are so experienced and expert. So what kind of topic do I have in common with them? How do you guys kind of like manage this? So may I ask first, Miss Irdina?
Okay, so for this one, I'm an introvert, so obviously I had a lot of issues with approaching a lot of people. So like one of the tips that I can share with you is that when you're talking to people who are like in a higher position than you should always ask them to talk about themselves. Like, oh, like what's your name? What are you doing? How did you get like where you are at? They love to talk about themselves, and I think you will learn so much if you ask them to explain, because I did talk to a few like professionals, and they were talking to me, telling me how they got from A to Z. And of course, like I didn't know you could actually go from A to Z. So that was how I knew that there were actually a lot of opportunities in the pharma industry for someone with a pharmacist background. Because usually people would assume like, oh, if you're doing pharmacy, you would go hospital, right? But there are actually a lot of roles that pharmacists can actually enter in the pharma. Malaysia has a lot of conferences, so I think you can actually join through those conferences and actually develop your like speaking skills. So maybe you can start small. You can start at like a local conference, and then you can prepare for like the international conference. And another thing that I would like to add is like during my time, they actually allocated a session for us to teach us how to actually network with these people. So they taught us like what you should do, like how you dress, like what you should, how to approach people, what you should talk about. And they actually arrange seatings where where in your table there is a really like high position industrial professional that sits on your table. So you can actually start with them first, and they are very approachable, they are very friendly, and throughout the conference they will also help you if you need help, like if you want to talk to this one person but you don't know how, so you can reach out to them to help you. So yeah, so there's really like no, like you shouldn't fear so much on how you should approach people, especially for during the conference, because there's already a session that will train you for that. Yeah.
See, that's good to hear that. So basically that we are prepared, right, to be talking to them. So how about you, Miss Crowley?
Well, I'm kind of jealous of Dina because I didn't have that session.
I'm so
But
sorry.
no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, I think we did do some feedback that like some of us don't really know how to connect with people. I believe lah. So even connecting with people at your same level but different country, right? I don't know lah. I have a because I come from Malaysia and people like from France, from US, from Belgium and things like that. I have a natural like I feel like I'm lower par on them, but I shouldn't think like that. But for me to get over that is like to actually like talk to them. Most people that are at a conference, or most people that join conferences, generally they are friendly lah. Generally they are able to talk. Generally they are slightly more talkative, especially people that are at the booths. So during the conference there are like a lot of companies, they have a lot of booths, so they're all salespeople, they're all marketing people, and they do know how to talk. So for me, I think talking to people at the booths is still fine. And also start small, like what Dina says, start from local conferences and things like that. So actually, before I went for the Europe conference, I've joined conferences in Singapore. So through there, at least Singapore, we have like similar culture. So actually, I also trained to talk. I'm not trained myself, but I've also have experience talking to people out of Malaysia. And Singapore is actually also quite international, so there are a lot of different expats that are at the Singapore conference as well. I think one very important point in connecting with professionals, right, is to be genuine. You know, a lot of times we go into talking to CEOs and talking to professionals like, oh, if I talk to them, I might have an opportunity to get an internship company, or I might have a job opportunity with that company. But um I believe that genuine connection is more important than getting a internship opportunity or whatnot. So opportunity always comes later. You always have to establish a genuine conversation, a genuine connection with these people. So I always start with like, yeah, you know what, like what Dina says. So, how did you get to your career today? So I always have 3 questions prepared. First, I always introduce myself, and I always highlight that I'm a biotechnology graduate. So I'm not really, not to say I'm not familiar with pharmaceutical terms, but I'm not a pharmacist by training. So I always highlight that I'm a biotechnology graduate, and then the second thing is I'm a student. And then third thing, I always say that what do I want to do in the future? And what is your advice for me? These sort of things like that. And also ask them about like their career path, their career growth, and what do they think of the industry now. Different people have different opinions. And it's super, super, super interesting to listen to all these different stories. Every day I come back from the conference, right? It's like about like 12 a.m. already. And then I just lay in my bed. I'm so tired because I've been talking to so many people during the conference, right? So I think the most important thing is just to be genuine. And if you're genuine, people generally will treat you back with the same genuinity that you give them. So that's my advice for connecting with like people of higher ups and higher management. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, both Miss Irdina and Miss Chloe. That was really something that I would say very down to earth, very personal to both of you. Also, it shows how connecting with professionals, it's not that scary. Like how Miss Irdina said, just ask the correct questions. And from Miss Chloe is be genuine, which is actually, I feel like that is quite a crucial point. So before we end our session today, we have our last question. Okay, so how did you leverage, both our guests, how do you leverage such experiences for your career right now? And because you're attending an international conference, networking with industry professionals like CEOs, very top profile people. So gaining this first-hand exposure to the pharmaceutical engineering field must have had an impact on your careers. So could you share how this experience has shaped your career path and if it has opened any doors for you? Maybe we can have Miss Irdina to share first.
Okay, so as you know, I am from a pharmacy background. So I was actually torn between doing hospital or doing industry because those two fields were something that I was interested in. But when I attended the conference, it only opened my eyes to actually see how many different opportunities and how many different roles that I can take into when venturing into the pharmaceutical industry. Because like as a pharmacist, you can actually venture into a lot of roles such as like regulatory, marketing, research, etc. And you don't need to stick to one role. Meaning like you don't just stick to, for example, regulatory and just grow up from there. You can actually switch. So you can go from like regulatory to like marketing, or venturing into other different roles. So and also the fact that like pharma industry, you may not like directly assist the patient, but you are actually one of the frontiers in getting the drug to be delivered to the patient to get them better. So when you think with this type of mindset, you're feeling like you are actually creating an impact to society. So that's actually what helped open my eyes lah, and that's why I started venturing into the pharma industry, because I feel like there's a lot of growth that you can do when you're in the pharma industry. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Irdina. That means that this conference really has given you the decision making to go into this pharmaceutical industry. So that's a very nice sharing. Thank you. So for Miss Chloe, how about you? How has it impacted your career?
I think it impacted my career as in I can see the merging of biotechnology and pharmacy, because um, currently the trend is always integrating bio solutions into pharmaceutical solutions, like biopharma, like vaccine manufacturing, gene therapy, things like this. So they're leveraging on technologies and knowledges that are concurrently taught in the biotechnology discipline. So through this international conference, I can see the merger there, and because not from young, I always had this ambition that I want to join a pharmaceutical company, but I'm not really sure how because I'm from a biotechnology background. So through this, I can really see that, okay, since I know that all these MNC, multinational companies, they are actually moving towards biotechnology as well. So there's definitely chance for me to join a pharmaceutical company. So currently my career is as a clinical research associate. So it's also one step closer to being in a a traditional pharmaceutical company in a sense, because pharmaceutical companies always have clinical trials, but now the clinical trials are also moving towards a era of like biopharmaceuticals, not just traditional medicines as well. So I can bring my knowledge as a biotech graduate and my knowledge currently as a clinical research associate to merge these two, I wouldn't say different discipline, but these two slightly branches in life sciences, slightly different branches in life sciences. So it definitely gave me a lot of opportunities to see. And also another thing, it helped me with my current, maybe it won't help me in my current career, but definitely in the future with all the connections that I've made and all the friends that I've made, I truly believe they are my friends lah. With all these connections that I've made, definitely it will open doors for my future career progression. So I personally, I have a really great friend in Singapore, and it's really funny, right? Like we met in Europe, but actually she's just from Singapore. So these kind of connection, this kind of friendship can open many opportunities for me. So I would say it's not a direct impact on my current career, but it's definitely useful for my future career.
I see. That is truly inspiring, both Chloe and Irdina. I'm sure that both of your sharing will give a huge impact and influence, I think, the way of our thinking, because you said that you gain a lot through the conference, right? So it is amazing to know that how an opportunity like this can be a game changer for students, shaping not only their academic but also professional pathways, and also their confidence, polishing their confidence in stepping beyond the comfort zones. So before we wrap up today's session, let's quickly go through the key takeaways from our discussion with Miss Chloe and also Miss Irdina. The key takeaways: first, opportunities like ISPE student grants can open doors to international exposure, professional networking, and a broader perspective on the pharmaceutical industry. Not also that, as Chloe mentioned, right now the pharmaceutical industry is also moving toward the biotechnology, which is the combination we know as the biotechnology industry, biopharmaceutical industry, sorry. And secondly, taking the leap beyond your borders, whether by applying for a grant, attending a conference, or simply engaging with new people from various backgrounds, can be an enriching experience that builds both personal and also professional growth.
Yes, and besides that, in the session, we also have discussed that there are challenges that is part of this journey, but with the right mindset and no self-doubt, determination, they can be overcome. Also, a well-crafted application, the essay for the grant, they can give us motivation, and also the genuine passion and for learning can increase our chances for securing the opportunities. Lastly, networking and adaptability are key skills that will help students make the most out of these experiences. As what Miss Chloe and Miss Irdina has shared, this networking has truly helped them, and also it has been an eye-opener for them also. And with that, we have come to the end of our very first episode of the Pharmasphere podcast.
A massive thank you to Miss Carly and Miss Irdina for being our guests today, sharing their experiences, insights, and valuable advices to us today. It was truly a pleasure having both of you on this show, especially for this first episode, which is very special meaning for us.
Mm.
To all of our listeners out there, we hope you found today's discussion insightful and inspiring. If you are thinking about applying for opportunities like this, take the step forward. Push beyond your boundaries, embrace the challenges, and you never know that amazing experiences always await for you.
Yes, so stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be bringing you more exciting conversations on pharmacy, pharmaceutical engineering, biotechnology, and career development. Until next time, this is Amanda and Evie signing off from Pharmasphere podcast. Thank you to the guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.